about as evenly matched teams that I've seen this year, even though there's a disparity in their win-loss record. The Aggies, hard luck story, losing some close ones. The Wyoming Cowboys winning all their close ones, coming off a miraculous win earlier in the week at New Mexico.
Yeah, Wyoming, their last 2 games, they went to overtime and won. Randy McCall's the lead official, and Randy Heimerman, Sean Lehigh were ready to go. Both teams take great care of the basketball. This is Josh Adams with it. Off to Graybo. They want to get Nance the ball on the block. Collette is defending him.
And here come the Aggies with what's called monster defense, where they're going to double Larry Nance Jr. big to big. You see Moore coming over. As soon as Nance faced up, though, he went back to his man.
5 to shoot it. And Adams elevates for 3 and is way off the mark. So a good defensive sequence for Utah State to begin.
There won't be many easy baskets in this game at either end. Both these teams very, very well drilled and heeled defensively.
Losing the basketball is Jalen Moore. Here's Graybo the other way to Hankerson. Turnaround jumper, Larry Nance Jr. Very little he can't do, and what a smart player.
And you talk about the cream rising to the top. He's averaging 16, but after 7 conference games, he's averaging 20. And you don't see that very often. Usually a player's scoring average drops once they get to the league play, and he's getting almost 2 more rebounds a game in the 7 league games.
Perry wants Collette, long arms. Nearly taken away by Derek Cook Jr. 4 to shoot. They got to get a shot off. And on the way to the hole, a foul. Hankerson will pick up the foul. Here's Larry Shyatt, 5 years as the Cowboys head coach. What a marvelous man, what a terrific coach. And Wyoming and Laramie just fits him. And Stu Morrill announced a few weeks ago that this will be his final season. Over 600 wins in his collegiate career.
He only needs 5 more wins to get to 400 here at Utah State. Already the winningest coach in the history of Utah State basketball.
You know, Jenny was talking about his home resume. They've lost only 19 conference games in his 17 years here at home. That's ridiculous.
They don't lose many.
And I'll tell you who rarely misses, that's Derek Cook Jr., because he never takes anything outside of about 4 feet. He couldn't connect there.
Leads the Mountain West Conference in field goal shooting at an unbelievable 75%.
Big key for me, Coach, is David Collette for 2 reasons. 1, he can score. Number 2, if Nance is on him, Wyoming doesn't foul much, but if you get Nance, a foul or 2 early and have to sit him down, that would be huge.
I think foul trouble could be a huge issue for either one of these teams. Neither one of them very deep, but if Collette, who has fouled out in 6 games, gets in foul trouble, or like you say, Larry Nance Jr., that's going to play big into this. Watch Collette here on a pretty nifty post move here, kind of a up and under. Larry Nance Jr. kind of coming up out of his stance and giving Collette a lane to get to the basket. The key to post defense is just staying down, staying between your man and the basket.
Josh Adams, who can fly and leap down the lane. And they say that's a turnover. He was looking for a foul. By the way, Jason McManaman has come into the game very quickly for Charles Hankerson, a change for Wyoming.
Hankerson got that first foul. Hankerson did not have a very good scoring game last game, but a terrific floor game.
Smith can shoot the 3. That's a little too strong. And then a traffic rebound for Derek Cook, who's really long, Joe.
Well, he is. 2 games ago, he had his career high 15 rebounds in that triple overtime game with Fresno State. In fact, he had a double-double, 12 points, 15 rebounds, but he's kind of a workhorse type guy. He's certainly not a show pony. He can go get it, though, up in the crowd. He's a great compliment to Nance in the post.
Larry looked to put it on the floor now from 20 feet. And the rebound pulled down by Smith. 2-2. we don't expect this game to be played in the 70s. I wouldn't be surprised if it's played in the 50s somewhere. Tapped at by Collette, it hung and would not fall. Numbers right, 5-on-4 for Wyoming. Here's Nance down the lane. Jalen Moore couldn't defend it, and Larry Nance makes it 4-2.
Well, remember, Collette went to the floor, and that is the matchup on Moore. Moore took advantage. Nance took the advantage of that and got an easy basket. You won't see many, again, as I said, easy baskets in this game.
Perkins from three-point range is off.
Drew, both these teams will push it. If you don't get back, they'll take advantage of it. But if you're back, then they're going to run clock and again, kind of tempo the game. And I agree with you, this one may not get out of the 50s.
I think it's a misnomer, Joe, sometimes, where we say, oh, a team that doesn't, that plays in the 50s or 60s, they don't push it. They do if it's there. 4-2 Wyoming. Mountain West Basketball on Root Sports is brought to you by Big Sky Ford in Lincoln, where the sky's the limit for service and making you a customer for life. And Cowboy fans, remember to buckle up every trip, every time. Click it or ticket it. Well, this was the scene, Wyoming in overtime against New Mexico Saturday. You get a steal and then great ball movement, and it winds up in Larry Nance's hands, and that's always a good thing.
And he finishes the deal, that being the difference in the game. In overtime, the Cowboys dead in the water, down 3, and got fouled at the end of regulation. Josh Adams did, and hit 3 free throws to tie it up. Boy, that was a very fortuitous win by the Cowboys.
Nance on the baseline, his 18-footer goes 20 out of bounds, and it'll go over to the Aggies. Stu Morrill's team lost a heartbreaker in overtime. They beat Nevada on that trip, and then at UNLV, a place they've always struggled. They've won one time there in their history. They had the game won 3 different times, and they had the game going to double overtime, and David Collette kind of lost track of the situation and committed a foul in the backcourt. He grabbed the point guard. He wasn't going to even do anything. He hits 2 free throws and they lose, but it was a game they should have won in regulation. And they should have won in overtime. So they really feel that they should be sitting here at 5-2 in conference play.
Well, Wyoming at 6-1, and Utah State at 4-3. That's what I'm saying. It's kind of the difference between the team that has won close games and the team that's lost close games. I think these two are very evenly matched.
You can see the game plan early is to try to get the ball to 13, David Collette. He got fouled there.
Well, Collette has had his ups and downs this year. He's had some terrific games. He set a couple Aggie records for the most points in the opening game for a freshman. Then he had 32 at USC for the most points of any game for a freshman. Then he's had some games where he's had 1, none, or 2 points. So he's kind of been up and down. He's coming off a very good game, 24 points.
Well, they've been working with Tim Duryea, who's an outstanding assistant coach. He's been working with David Collette yesterday for a long time on his free throw stroke, and he goes 1 of 2 there. And he said, I don't care if you throw one in the stands or only gets halfway there. Stay with what we're doing. Right. And he was behind his head with it. Now they're moving it in front, Joe. Well,
Collette got off to a great start this year. People forget he didn't play for 2 years, just back from his Mormon mission in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I think the expectation level got pretty high on him. Now, he's a very, very talented freshman, but again, his first year of basketball
well, the game's over. We can't play anymore,
well,
Joe.
Let's go home. There you go.
Back in Southern Indiana, what you do when it got trapped between the shot clock and the top of the board?
You wouldn't sit under a shade tree until someone else showed up with the ball so you could throw it up there and knock it out. Neither team shooting the ball at all right now.
I'm saying this takes a ladder, by the way, Joe.
Now there's assistant coach Chris Jonesy, who played at University of Utah, point guard.
Right.
There you go.
Nice
leave it up to a point guard, an ex-point guard to come to the aid of Chris Jones. As a matter of fact, I recruited him to University of Utah. Really, you talk about a good staff. Both these teams head coaches have terrific staff. You mentioned Tim Duryea. Chris Jones is also a great
We saw Chris Smith against Air Force. Was he something else that night?
Boy, he can get, well, he's shooting 46% from the three-point line, and that was not defended very well. His defender went under that screen. He just rose up behind it and knocked it down. The Aggies, after that timeout, going to their matchup zone.
Adams spins, hangs, contact, but it goes out of bounds off Josh. He is a highlight reel waiting to happen. Every night, every possession.
He maybe went a little bit too highlight on that. If he would have just stopped and shot a pull-up jump shot, he might have been better off. But he is one of the most exciting players in the league. Boy, can he get up, not just on layups. He jumps about 3 foot high on just a jump shot.
Smith guarded by Hankerson, who just came back on the floor. And Jalen Moore can do that. That's why, as you described, Joe, he's such a difficult cover.
Well, Larry Nance Jr. getting caught on that ball screen, and they're setting ball screens for Jalen Moore at 6'8", like he's a 6'3" guard, and Jalen Moore rolls up behind that one just as his teammate Chris Smith did. Wyoming's going to have to make an adjustment on playing those ball screens.
Chris Smith got his hand in the passing lane. 8-4 Utah State with the rock. Here's JoJo McGlaston, who can rise. He's been playing well. 10-4. Cowboys have to burn an early timeout. 12:36 to go in the first half.
JoJo McGlaston on a very acrobatic play was deep in the doghouse about 2 weeks ago, coming off a 9-point career high, 10 rebounds. He's very capable of doing that. He lost his starting job to the freshman, Julian Perry, but he is really the most productive sub coming off the bench for the Utah State Aggies. Wyoming very uncharacteristically not taking care of the ball and not shooting it very well.
I mean, they average a little more than 10 turnovers a game. There's two things that will incense the man in the sweater in the middle, Larry Shyatt. One, if you don't take care of the ball, and two, if you don't defensive rebound. They're number one in the conference. They're plucking down 75% of their defensive rebounds. Wyoming at 6-1. Colorado State's won 4 in a row. San Diego State's 5-2. The Rams just beat the Aztecs. Look out for Fresno. The record's not pretty overall at 10-10, but they've been good so far in the conference.
Well, one of the few teams in the league, Fresno State Bulldogs, who will pressure you at full court and make you play their style of basketball. A lot of parity in the league this year going into this last month. I think a lot of things can happen.
And Nance comes free. So out of the timeout, they get the basketball to their go-to man, and he comes through. In fact, Nance has all 6 points for the Cowboys. 8 minutes gone in the first half.
Elston Jones in for the Aggies, a freshman. Didn't play big minutes, but as I said earlier, both these teams are a little light in the bench.
And Elston Jones scores.
He's a huge body, 6'9", 240 in there, and Derek Cook Jr., a kid who's usually pretty reliable defensively, did not play that very well. Got buried in the post. Jones had him backed all the way to the rim.
Up top, Hankerson lets fly. And it's tapped out, but it comes to Chris Smith.
Hankerson was 0 for 6 in the game against New Mexico. Had a good floor game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, but he is 0 for in the last 3 halves of basketball.
That shot a little bit too strong from Henry Bolt. Aggies are a little deeper than Wyoming. Truth be told, Wyoming plays 7 guys.
Yeah, and the Aggies a little bit deeper, but not a lot deeper. Neither one of the head coaches like to go very deep to their bench. The Aggies are interesting. Jalen Moore is the only kid in that starting 5 that played a minute last year. Only 4 returning players on this whole entire Aggie team, and they've just gotten better and better and better. Stu Morrill hasn't won 613 games because he doesn't know what he's doing.
Adams, 3 ball. And following up is Larry Nance, and Stu Morrill not pleased.
Well, Jalen Moore is his matchup. He's got to find Nance and put a body on him. Nance is a great offensive rebounder simply because he goes after a lot of offensive rebounds.
We'll tell you.
Wyoming has stayed straight man-to-man. They will play a little zone, but not very much at all. Stu Morrill mixes his defense a little more, especially this year with this new team and being a little bit short-handed.
Nance on the baseline. He shot a couple of air balls, but he has all 8 points for Wyoming.
And he tells his teammates as he runs down the floor, my fault, my fault, my fault. He's kind of giving in a little bit to that jump shot a little bit.
Timeout, 9:48 to play opening half. Utah State on their home floor by 4.
Welcome back to the Spectrum. Utah State up on Wyoming 12-8. Found some very special guests, staple guests actually, here at the Spectrum. Jimmy Moore, Jalen's father, and his wife, Deborah, Jalen's mom. Hi guys, so great to see you. You know, Jimmy, when you talk about playing here, now watching your son here, does it get surreal every time you walk in?
Oh, you get goosebumps every time you come in, especially in a game like this when it's a very competitive, high-intensity game. It get chills down your spine, you know.
I can imagine you get chills because you've played on that floor. Now, Mom, Deborah's had to be in the stands watching you, watching her sons now play here. How intense does it get for you during the game?
Very intense. I've bit off every nail. Very intense.
You probably have another intense game here. Thanks, guys, so much for joining us. Enjoy.
It's never easy on Mom and Dad. That is for sure, Joe.
I had a nice conversation with Jimmy before the game. Jimmy and I go a long way back. He was an assistant coach here after his stint in the NBA, and I used to sit with him and watch games. What a nice gentleman.
Bolton tried to hand it off to Harris and missed. Here's Adams the other way. Well, Coach, you said it a moment ago. Both teams are nearing the 5 turnover mark. That's usually reserved for an entire half. There's another turnover. Adams is going to try to block it. Good. And Bolton makes the layup.
What a great defensive play by Bolton. Just snatched it out of Adams' hand as Adams was trying to set up the offense. Utah State leads the league in defending the three-point line right now. Wyoming feeling that 0 for 4 from the three-point line.
Alex Gorski on the floor for Wyoming. He's got it. He fires a 3 and he hits. Gorski doesn't get a lot of minutes in conference play.
Well, they were really high on this kid earlier. He played in a prep school out of Wichita. He's from Sweden, but he broke a finger very badly. It really set him back early in the year. But they say he is their best shooter on the team.
And the rebound to Alan Herndon, who keeps improving. Speaking of young guys getting better.
Larry Nance Jr. didn't look much different than Alan Herndon as he came in as a freshman. He was long and gangly, but not very fit.
Adams is going to go out. I guarantee it'll be briefly. He's a fiery guy. He's averaging, Coach, because of the overtime games, in conference play, you look at the minutes for Adams, for Nance, for Graybo, their big three, they're on the floor 40-plus minutes.
Well, remember they put in a triple overtime game where the guys played 40-plus minutes, and but Adams is the type of kid who wants to be on the floor. He gets mad if he's sitting on the bench.
And Nance loses it. Interesting first half. We'll be back in a moment. Utah State by 3. Aggies leading by 3 over Wyoming. We talked about the big minutes that Wyoming's playing under Larry Shiat with their core group. Larry Nance Jr., again, because of overtime, he's averaged 40 minutes. Josh Adams pretty close. Graybo as well. Hankerson really comes off the floor. Fascinating conversation last night that we had with Larry Shiat. He's been a lot of places. Clemson, when Tommy Batten was the football coach there. He was at Florida, 2 national championships with Billy Donovan, but the head coach was a guy by the name of Urban Meyer. He said he learned a lot from watching how those guys practice. He said they don't beat each other up. So he scaled things back this winter by about 6-7 hours a week. far less contact in practice because he wants his guys healthy to play big minutes on Tuesday or Wednesday night and on the weekend.
He told me before the game they'll go about 20 minutes live in a practice. The rest of it is walk through, scout team. But I think a lot of that has to do with the age of his team. He starts 4 seniors. 2 of them are 50-year seniors. Those guys know what it takes. He doesn't have to push them very hard. Now, if his team was a lot younger, it may be a little different.
Just thought it was interesting, though, also taking something out of football. He felt like he really felt like college basketball is a little bit behind where football is.
Yeah.
It reminded me, we were just laughing about this, it reminded me of what the late, great Bum Phillips once said about when asked why the Oilers didn't scrimmage more in preseason. He said, last time I checked, the Houston Oilers weren't on the Houston Oilers schedule.
I like that. Although my favorite Bum Phillips quote is, if it doesn't come in a brown bottle, I don't drink it.
I thought you'd like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Colette driving to the hoop, nice pass. That was Darius Perkins gift wrapping it.
Darius Perkins, the junior college point guard, is a kid. This is not an easy system to come in and learn the Aggie Stu Morrill system. He has gotten better virtually each week and really starting to come into his own now.
Nance drives and finishes. 10 points for Larry Nance. The perimeter game not there, but the drives are.
Well, Nance has got 10 of their 13 points. They've only got one other basket besides him. Graybowl, Adams, Cook, they've got to step up, start getting involved in the offense.
Jalen Moore. And Hankerson pulls down another rebound.
Hankerson now alluded to the point he didn't make a field goal in the last game, and he's a top 10 three-point shooter in the Mountain West Conference. They've got to get someone else going offensively. The Aggies now back in man-to-man. They've done a great job of mixing their man and their zone against Wyoming.
Shot clock down to 10. Nance off the glass. Oh, that would be something special.
Wow, almost a circus play.
He did it. That's going to stay at the other end for Colette. He just kissed it off the glass too hard. You'd have been watching that one for weeks.
Yes, you would have. I tell you, that wasn't a bad idea, but then the Cowboys give up an early or an easy basket at the other end. One thing Collette can do, he can run like a gazelle. He has long arms and big bounce. Whoever comes in here and replaces Stu Morrill inherits all 5 starters off this team that has gotten better and better and better as the season has progressed. A great freshman-sophomore combination that front line with Collette and Moore.
Collette's got 8 points. Adams back on the floor.
The Wyoming Cowboy backcourt, Graybowl and Adams, have yet to score a point.
Backdoor cut. Beautiful pass. Nance finds Derek Cook Jr., who's hitting 75% from the floor because most of his shots are dunks.
Well, when they come to double team Larry Nance Jr., he is an outstanding passer out of there, and that was a missed rotation by the Aggies. If you're going to come big to big, that guard on the side that the guy comes to double has got to get inside that other big, and I think that was Chris Smith who missed that. Actually, that was Perry, the freshman, number 5, who missed that rotation. That's the liability of that defensive tactic. When you go, again, big to big, the double team, you got to get great rotation on that side away from the double team.
Hankerson, 3 ball. And that was way off the mark.
That was a bad miss for such a good shooter.
The good shooters, Joe, you know this, they typically don't miss long. They're going to miss short at that point.
Right. That was wide right. And like you said, a good shooter missed the short or long, but they keep it straight. Wyoming in a little bit of a mismatch now. He switched that last ball screen.
Perkins can do that. I like his game.
Wow, he's really, You know, he went through a stretch right after Christmas where he was like 0 for about 2 weeks. Now he's shooting the heck out of it. 9 of his last 13 three-point shots he's made. Like I say, he's a junior college kid. It's taking him a little bit of time to adapt, but he's playing very well right now.
He had 19 against Vegas. That's a hand check foul on Julian Perry. And we've arrived at another timeout. Interesting first half. Utah State on their home floor leading 21-15 over the Cowboys.
Discount Tire.
Time now for the road ahead, brought to you by Big Sky Ford in Lincoln, where the sky's the limit. Visit us in Torrington or online at bigskyford.com. Don't miss this weekend's Mountain West doubleheader on Saturday. The Cowboys back in action as they host the Nevada Wolfpack at the Dome of Doom, followed by San Jose State and New Mexico. Our coverage starts at 4 o'clock on Saturday. Coming up the half, yep, that's right. It's Sean Harris, the senior from Utah State and me. That's a little kid and play dance for you there, Drew. And Joe, I know you don't know what that is, but we also get down to business and play a mean game of pig. You're going to want to stay tuned for that.
What were you all doing there?
Kid and play dance. Come on. You know he has the haircut, so we had to do the dance. I'll teach you about it later.
Please. Joe knows what you're talking about. I of course don't. How about this? Utah State is out rebounding Wyoming 12-11. You say, well, why is that a big deal? They've out rebounded 3 teams all year, including in their last game against Vegas. They won the glass convincingly. They've been a very poor rebounding team. So that's a good early sign for Stu Morrill's team.
Well, they're dead last in the Mountain West Conference in rebounding. That is Riley Grayble's first shot. They're starting 1, 2, and 3 guys have yet to make a basket.
They're 7 of 22 shooting the basketball. And they scrap and they come away with a turnover. Here's Adams leading a 3-on-2. And he'll back it out. Graybo says, I want to try again. And that's off left. So Wyoming is in this basketball game. They're down 6, but they can't throw it in the ocean.
1 for 8 from 3 so far. Remember, the Aggies lead the Mountain West Conference in defending the three-point line, and they are also very good defense in general. They're holding their opponents under 40% from the field.
That was a volleyball spike by Derek Cook.
Derek Cook coming from the weak side or the side away from the ball there and going up to get that. Talk about a stingy league, Drew. There are 6 teams in the Mountain West Conference that are holding their opponents to under 40% shooting. I mean, this is a very, very good defensive league. Utah State, I saw they were holding their opponents to 39%. I thought, oh, that's one of the top 2. They're 6th in the league. There's 5 teams who are guarding better than that, so it doesn't surprise me that they're guarding Wyoming as well as they are tonight.
Well, overall, you look nationally, Colorado State's 24th in the nation in the coaches poll. Wyoming has been in the top 25 this year. San Diego State's been in the top 25. Both of those schools on the cusp of getting back in the nation's top 25. And again, it's a huge game for Stu Morrill and Utah State. They've always defended the home floor. The tough loss was 48 hours ago in Vegas. If they can win tonight, before they go to San Diego State, they improve to 5-3 in the conference, which would be very, very big.
Well, they're picked next to the last, 10th in the preseason. I alluded to earlier in the game, they only returned 4 players on their entire team. Jalen Rose is the only kid in their starting 5. Jalen Moore, I'm sorry. They
wish they had Jalen Rose, the younger version of Jalen Rose.
That has played any minutes at all in their starting 5 before this game. Stu Morrill's just done a marvelous job of bringing this team around. Where did I come up with Jalen Rose? I don't know.
Do you know, Jalen Rose, when I was doing the Nuggets, one of my favorite guys, came out of Michigan.
Yes,
he's done a great job in broadcasting. I think they're trying to figure out what the shot clock should be on. Originally it was 9, then it got moved to 15. Randy McCall will get it straight. He's reset it to 16. One of the top officials in college basketball. Here's Smith. He lets fly. Nothing but the bottom. They hadn't found him in a while. He's a good guy to find, though, Joe.
Boy, his guy just hesitated on that, his defender on that ball screen. And you and I have seen him do it before up here. He can rise in the crowd. A great pickup, a great recruit by the Aggies out of Yuba City Community College.
And there's JoJo McGlaston, who's a good defender, help side defense, and he blocked that shot. Alex Gorski had it knocked out of bounds, 15 on the shot clock. Graybo finds his range. Riley Graybo with his 27th triple of the year. 137th in his career. Top 6 all time in Laramie. Inside 2 minutes to play in the first half. And this time Smith misses, but Utah State will get another opportunity. So will Smith. He didn't miss that time. His 3rd triple of the first half.
Well, Derek Cook, both times a little late in that scramble situation. The best time to shoot a three-point shot is after an offensive rebound because the defense isn't matched up. And that's exactly what you saw happen there. Derek Cook close to him, not his man, but that came about because of that offensive rebound.
Aggies by 9. Gorski 3-ball. That was huge.
That was really big.
You can tell he could shoot it. That came out of his hand quickly, and pretty looking shot for Gorski out of Sweden.
Wyoming now with back-to-back three-point shots made, and they needed to heat up a little bit there.
Moore kicks it outside. McGlaston off balance. And here's Adams. Count the basket. Now you get an idea at home why we're talking about his athleticism. That was 1-on-2.
That was at half court. It was 1-on-3 or 4. He just took this upon himself. And we said the Cowboys and the Aggies will force the issue if they can. I've said this kid is one of the most exciting players in the league, and that's where he is at his best in the open court. Last year when Larry Nance Jr. went down, this kid went on a scoring rampage. Was it 4 or 5 straight games he scored over 20 or more for his team. He was their only offense for a while, and then he finally kind of wore down for the last couple games of the year.
That was his first bucket of the ball game. 35 seconds left, about a 12-second differential between the 2 clocks. 27-23. Wyoming was down 9 a moment ago. They're within 4, and Stu Morrow wants to set something up. So with 15 on the shot clock, Stu Morrow calls a timeout. There's Tim Duryea to his right. Tim's been with him for 14 years here in Logan. Was with him at Colorado State many years ago. Tim played at North Texas, one of the top assistants out west. And hopefully at some point, Tim will get an opportunity to be a head coach. He's deserving of it. He's a good man, he's a good recruiter, good X's and O's as well. Top 25 basketball on Root Sports. Tune in Thursday at 7 as the University of Pacific will try to take down 3rd-ranked Gonzaga. Root Sports, your home for college basketball all season long. I've seen the Zags play a bunch on the tube this year. Talk about deep.
Wow, they are maybe the most talented team Mark Hughes had up there.
Got a heck of a backcourt.
Yes, they do. And like you say, really, really deep. Wyoming on a major run here. They were down 12 points just a couple minutes ago, and now they got a chance to go into halftime feeling a whole lot better about things.
See what Stu Morrow's drawing up here. 10 to get a shot off.
Wyoming was in their zone. Now they come back after that timeout in their man-to-man.
Moore, little jump hook, good looking shot. 12 now for Wyoming as Nance clears the glass. And they had a foul to give, so Perkins got Graybo.
Terrific coaching there by Stu Morrow. Everyone, including me, would have thought that timeout was spent drawing up a play, but also saying, okay, we have one foul to give there to keep the Cowboys from getting any real momentum on this last.
And a steal by Collette. And nearly an and one. Adams almost committed the foul. 1 second plus to go. Huge steal by Colette.
What a momentum shift for the Aggies going into halftime. Wyoming had kind of seized the momentum, a huge run for them, making them, getting them back in the game. One of the best athletes, one of the best big athletes in the league, David Collette, just a freshman.
That's good.
Wow.
Oh,
man. A finish.
Are you kidding me? Riley Grabo. That was about 75 feet, maybe 80. I guess that's how you go 17-3 through your first 20.
Wow.
Look at this.
And the Cowboys then grasped the momentum going themselves into halftime.
And no reaction from Grabo.
Wow.
That's why you passed it into me, right?
Wow, what a senior. What a senior.
Unbelievable. A 3-point game at halftime. It looked like Utah State was going to have a double-digit lead at the break. We told you it'd be fun. Aggies 29, Pokes 26. You're watching Mountain West basketball on Root Sports.